Our theme today is based around the next one of the beautiful names in our journey through these Asmaul Husna, the names of the beloved. And so it's all about, it's one of the protection names. There's what they call a matrix of protection. And last week we looked at Hafiz, which kind of contains all of the other names. But this time it's Muqit, and we'll be doing some practice with that later. But in a nutshell, Muqit is the only one who protects us from starvation, if you like. So by providing what we need, nourishment for our bodies and nourishment for the soul and for the heart. So that's the focus of our session this time. Did you want to?
We've been talking about that over breakfast and what that might mean.
I think we'll talk about it in a little while.
All right.
Is that all right?
Okay, we won't talk about it now then.
So I think we'll just get started by doing some invocation and a dance, and then we'll spend some time talking about it. Lovely to see some more beloveds arriving.
So then. Hey.
So you deal with that and I'll just lead an
something
induction. Somebody's trying to join. So those of us that are here and ready, let's settle into the moment. Settle into the breath. And we can be aware of each in-breath bringing in life, and each out-breath releasing and letting go of what no longer serves us. Just as on the physical plane we're breathing out the gases that are the byproducts of our functioning system, sometimes it's just time to let go of something. And each out-breath can make space for us to breathe in more life, more nourishment. Charging our system, allowing the exchange of gases in the blood, leading to more releasing and letting go. This beautiful cycle. Our bodies know just what to do. Mostly they just get on with it. Now and again it's a great gift to pay close attention to that with appreciation. This miracle. The life-sustaining breath. And let's begin to breathe in towards the one, and to breathe out united with all. So extending our awareness of the breath to bring us into greater unity with ourselves, all the parts of ourselves coming into oneness, coming together. And the out-breath connecting us to all that is, united with all that is. Breathing in towards the one, Breathing out, united with all. And let's move into the Sufi invocation of Hazrat Inayat Khan. So do join me if you're familiar with the words, and if you're not, just let them wash over you and continue to breathe with conscious awareness. Let's use the full and expanded form. Towards the One, the perfection of love, harmony and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the message, the mystery, the miracle, the Mother, the Spirit of guidance. And on our French friends who are here, let's also say it in French. Vers l'unique, la perfection d'amour, d'harmonie et de beauté, le seul être, uni à toutes les âmes illuminées, qui forment l'incorporation du Maître, du message, du mystère, du miracle, de la mère. That's the first time I've done that bit in French. L'Esprit guide. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We begin in the name of the only being who is all love. So let's move straight into a dance. And we're going to use words in Aramaic, the language of Jesus. Allah Ruchau. Do you want to play the guitar for this one? You like playing the guitar for this one? Yeah. Allah Ruchau. Could you repeat that for me?
Allah Ruchau.
So Allah is the name of unity, source of all that is. And Ruchau is the word for the breath. So in the Bible this was translated, God is a spirit. But we could just as well say God is breath. Unity breathes. The breath is what connects us to all that is. So this is how the melody goes. Allah, 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 do some movements with that, and you can move sitting down if you prefer, or you can just stand up and join us. As we do these Allahas, imagining that we're holding hands in the circle and that we are being breathed as a circle, as a group. So our arms are floating up and we're doing this in connection with each other, so that we feel intimately that we are one unified body being breathed together, this breath of God flowing through all of us. So let's just try that. With 2 alahas, the arms raise, and 2 they come down again. Allah, 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 Allah. That's beautiful. And as much as you can, if you're on gallery view, you can see the others on the screen, and let's really experience this sense of us moving together, our unified body working together. If all you can see is me and Salik, then just move with us. But let's try that once again. Allah, 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 Allah. Beautiful. And then we're going to turn to the right, and as we turn, it's like we're swimming in this breath of unity, this breath of God, with this air, this wind, this breath in which we move and breathe every day. This is our element, if you like, that we live in. But just again, to really be conscious and experience our movement in breath and the breath moving in us. So it goes. So this is a free movement. Move it, as you feel moved by the breath. And then we're going to do it again, and then the other time we'll turn the other way. So let's go for it. Allah, 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 with somebody, you can hold hands if you like. Allah, 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 Allah. Turning on our own and then uniting again. Allah, together. Allah, Allah. And now in individual movement on our own. Oh, this dance of unity and individuality. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, breathing the words silently. Still moving together. Singing Allah, 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 and really coming in close, let's feel that movement together. Allah, Allah, even though we're far apart, we're moving together. Allah, 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 Allah Ruchao. God is breath. Unity breathes. You want your chair? So let's now share a bit more about our exploration of this this beautiful name of the beloved, Ya Muqit, which is inspiring us today. So shall I just read a bit, perhaps?
Yeah.
So this is reading again from Physicians of the Heart. This beautiful book which we draw on so much. So Al-Muqit is the unlimited ability to provide for each and everything. It is the trusted, reliable source of sustenance. With Al-Muqit, the divine protection arrives to feed and to nourish, to allow for survival. So if you remember, this is one of the matrix of protection names. So it's seeing protection in this sense of allowing survival because of providing for the needs of the body, heart and soul. A physical meaning of the root of this word is to provide a measure of grain in a reliable way to guard against starvation. So this sense of the daily bread, and in the Arab world, in fact I was making bread the other day from an Arab recipe book I've got, and it describes how in the Arab women make bread every day, enough for their family and whoever arrives, whatever guests might be there. And it's like there's an amount of bread which is for that day. And I was reflecting on that, and I was thinking it must be in some ways that you have to cut the cloth, cut the clothing to fit the cloth, and so that you make it last for the day. But there's this sense of daily bread which we're familiar with in the Lord's Prayer as well. So, so a physical meaning is this daily measure of grain in a reliable way to guard against starvation. There's also a variation of the root which means the fat of a camel's hump. The fat of a camel's hump. So it's this wonderful, rich nourishment that supports the camel going through the desert. When times are hard, there's this richness within. And there's a classical Sufi meaning which presents al-Muqit as the quality that nourishes our spirit, breath after breath. Breath itself is a kind of nourishment from God that protects us from the death of the heart. And of course, we can take this in a very physical way, literally, while we're breathing. The heart can keep pumping, and when we stop breathing, eventually the heart will stop too. So there's this very down-to-earth physical sense that the breath and the heart nourish each other to sustain life. But there's also this question of what does the heart desire? What is the need of the heart? And this is what we were exploring this morning, wasn't it? Over breakfast. Do you want to say something? I heard you take a breath.
Well, I was just trying to work out these. Felt like I'm feeling a bit scattered this morning. I'm having difficulty concentrating. I don't quite know why, but
watch your breath, as they say.
So it's a sense of this protection that arrives from being able to nourish ourselves on different levels, nourishing ourselves through the breath. Really, for me, felt like through our connection with directly with the source of life. The sort of sometimes referred to as like the vertical connection with the divine through the spirit, and then the protection or sustaining through looking after the body through food and shelter and very, very kind of physical things. But then also this third thing, nourishing and supporting ourselves through the heart, which feels very important. It feels particularly relevant at this time for me. I'm learning the importance of my connection with people, other people, putting more energy into that than I have done before, because so much of it's been taken away. And also with other things around us, like animals and plants and the beauty of nature or beautiful things. I think we nourish our hearts in different ways. Each of us have a different experience. So that's kind of what we were reflecting on. And this COVID time is a good time to be thinking about that.
That's right. So So I suppose in summary, I had two little asides that popped into my head actually. One thing is that I need to tell you that one of our chickens has discovered that she's a cockerel. So she started crowing loudly. So I don't know why I thought about that. I think you were talking about animals, and I was thinking about how nourished we've been by our chickens. Anyway, so that's one little piece of local information. And the other thing I was thinking of is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which many of you will be familiar with, which sort of, can you say the scientific version of it? Then I'll tell you what I was thinking of. It starts with our need for shelter and housing and the physical needs of the body, doesn't it? And then it goes up through kind of self-fulfillment and having a spiritual life and an emotional life and those kind of things. I don't know whether you've seen the COVID version of it, which has the very bottom row is toilet rolls, because that's obviously the most important fundamental need. Anyway. Getting a bit carried away. So, yes, so just coming back to this, and I think the protection, you were struggling a bit with understanding why it's protection, weren't you?
Yeah,
but I think it's about
this word. I struggle with words a bit.
But my sense is that it's about protecting life. It's about protecting us from starvation, and starvation in a physical sense, so providing of the grain, and starvation at every level. With this rich nourishment of the fat in the camel's hump, and this sense of the breath nourishing the heart. And that sense of being nourished on many levels comes up in many of our dances and practices, which leads kind of to the next dance that we're thinking of doing, doesn't it?
So we were thinking about the words of Yeshua, Jesus, from St. John's Gospel, where in the Aramaic he says, "Inana lachma dahai." I am the bread of life is the English translation from the the traditional Orthodox English translation. But Sadi, who is a scholar of language, has looked more deeply into the more mystical meanings of these words. And one way of thinking about it is, he says, when you reconnect your small self, the elemental I, to the only I, the depth and source of all identity, you energize the animal life in you. So through connecting our smaller selves to the greater self, that we, you could say our soul, that part of us that is connected to the divine source of all life, of all that is, then we energize not just our soul or our spiritual self, but our whole physical being. Our life force, our energy in our body, as well as our spirit. Ooh, I'm not actually playing the guitar for this one, am I?
Oops.
So, Inana lachma dahai.
Inana lachma dahai.
Inana lachma dahai.
Do you want to explain anything about the words, or what one means what? Would you like me to?
You do it.
Inana. So if Jesus wanted to say I am, he would say Ina. So when he says Inana, he's saying I am, I am. So this is where it comes from, this connection of the small I am with the great I am. It's a different construction from the everyday language that says I am this, I am that. So it's really pointing us towards reaching out and feeling this connection from the small self to the infinite self. And lachma is the word for bread, and chai is the word for life. That's the short version.
Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai. Join in.
Inanna lachma dahai, 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 Inanna lachma dahai.
One more time.
Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai.
So those of you who wish or are able can stand up, but you could also do this one seated. So we're going to be bowing. Remember to have nice bendy knees if you're standing, so that we bow, leading with our heart always, bowing to the right with our heart, then back up, bendy knees, leaning back, and then to the left with our heart, back up to the right. And then on the last phrase, we're going to do this sweeping crescent movement with our heart, carving a crescent from the left to the right, and up, and then down, bowing our heart in surrender. So, to the right first.
Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai.
Now sweeping.
Inanna lachma dahai.
We take a small step to the right at the end when we sweep with our heart.
Inanna lachma dahai, Inanna lachma dahai,
Stepping to the right.
dahai, Inanna lachma 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 dahai, Inanna lachma
Low voices. High voices. Low. Let's just say hi together 3 times.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Divine life. We are blessed by this life force.
I just had a thought. Do you think when you say hi to somebody, it originates in wishing them life? We could imagine that, couldn't we? We could have a secret practice every time we say hi. So one of the important things to remember about Ya Muqit, the form of the Arabic, shows us that it's the only one who brings that nourishment, that protection from starvation. So really what that means is that every time we are fed, every time we receive nourishment, every time we're aware of the rich fat of the camel's hump sustaining us in the desert, every time we're aware of the breath, keeping the heart going, of breathing life and love into our lives, it comes from God, it comes from Allah, it comes from unity. So, every time we're there for each other, we're doing it on behalf, we're doing it as representatives of the only being. I think let's do a bit of repetition of Ya Muqit. And so allowing these sounds to land in the body, remembering that one of the reasons we do these sound practices is because they are sound medicine. We're awakening vibrations, we're sometimes reawakening vibrations. Qualities that are already there. So is anybody else experiencing that the sound has gone quiet? No? So, not sure. Try turning your volume up maybe. So yes, reawakening these vibrations and allowing them to really land in the physical. And for me, that's helped when I engage as much of my being as I can. So I like to engage my mind with meaning because I have an active mind. It likes to have a chance to think about things and reflect on things. So for me, different qualities of meaning bring richness to that. So this quality of Ya Muqit as the provider of a regular grain amount, what would that look like? And I can envisage those grains of corn or wheat, or whatever abundance that might be, food from the garden, daily nourishment for the physical body. And then also this wonderful image of the fat in the camel's hump. What's my hump? What's in my hump? What's my store of rich, nourishing fat for when times are hard, for when I'm crossing the desert? What can I reach for? Remembering that it comes from God, that it comes from Allah. And then also this wonderful sense of the breath as a gift from God, bringing life-giving nourishment to the heart and to the soul. So to the physical heart, keeping the physical body going, but also what travels on that breath to nourish the heart and soul at a deeper level. So all of that awareness, and then also the awareness of the feel, the taste of these words in the mouth, enjoying the sounds of particularly the consonants. Ya Muqit, feeling the directionality of that sound. The mu means that it's being bringer, the only one that brings this protection and this nourishment. Allowing it to land with that eat sound, Ya Muqit. And if it helps you to bring some movement with that, then allow your body to tell you how it wants to move to receive the blessing of this practice. So there aren't any particular set movements, but feel free to be a bit flexible and to allow movement to arise that helps this to become embedded in your awareness, in your being. So let's do 33 of these. Ya Muqit, 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 Ya Muqit. So let's now breathe Muqit. So breathing in Muqit, breathing out Muqit. Taking these sounds to a more refined dimension. Just as ultrasound is better able to penetrate deeper into the body, the healing sound, the realization of this quality. Protection from starvation. Allowing that in at such a deep level. So many of us have had our trust broken in that at a deep level. The trust was broken by the humans in our lives. But this divine protection, this is real. It's never gone away. The only bringer of all of this nourishment. Allowing those sounds to travel on the breath to the deep, hungry places inside. The places that fear that they won't be fed or nourished. Bringing the nourishment of the only one who heals with the breath, who heals with abundance. Ya Muqit. And then letting go of the words and just allowing the breath even more refined to carry this quality. Deep into the bones, deep into the belly, deep into the heart. We are nourished. We are protected. Amen. And thank you for the beautiful comment in the chat there. These teachings, these dances, these Zoom calls, this community, such a deep source of nourishment and protection. Yeah. It comes only from the source, but we are all the hands and feet and hearts of that source. Alhamdulillah. I think we've just, I want to just keep going through our plan actually, because I think we have got time just. So let's dance with breath again, this time in Hebrew, ruach. The same quality of breath, spirit, source of all life. So again, invite you to stand and move to this, and what happens is that we start really close in, and we're going to take little tiny steps further and further away on the ruach. That's how the whole of the ruach part works, just swaying together and experiencing our sharing of this breath. And for the lie, lie, lies, I did this with somebody else leading on Zoom not so long ago, and I just got really so excited about it. I loved this because we're going to take a partner. So I'm going to reach out to the screen and I'm going to grab you and bring you into my living room and dance with you. And then you get to do it with somebody else. So let's just we'll just go straight into it. So let's start close in, feeling our closeness, feeling our unity, sharing the breath. If you're in the room with somebody, get close, hold hands, snuggle up. If you're not in the room with somebody, just remember what that feels like, to feel warm bodies, close, side by side, swaying in the circle together. And we start to the left. Oh, he's still tuning. Grab your first partner. Lie, 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 lie. And another partner. Lie, 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 lie. And another one. Lie, 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 lie. And then coming in close. Lie, 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 lie. Grab your partner. Lie, 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 lie. And another one. Lie, 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 lie. And a third time. Lie, 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 lie. Coming in close. Lie, lie, lie. Let's breathe ruach, breath, spirit, oneness, God. In Arabic, Jesus is known as Ruch Allah, the breath of God. Amen.
Amen. So in thinking about nourishing the heart, I was trying to find a dance that would somehow speak to that. And this is the one that came to me. Jamil Allah.
Jamil Allah.
Jamil Allah. Ishq Allah Jamil.
Ishq Allah Jamil.
Jamil being one of the beautiful names, Arabic names for beauty, divine beauty. And I thought of this one because beauty nourishes my heart. Beauty in all its myriad forms.
You know that, this is my fun fact for the day, looking at beauty stimulates your thymus. It's actually good for your health to look at beauty. So again, it's something we can take out from here and remember to do. You know, just looking at, I don't know if you know what it feels like. I have such a powerful sense of it when I look at nature, when I look at, you know, we step out, we're so lucky where we live here, we step out of our door and something changes in my breath because of looking at that beauty. But it can also happen with looking at a beautiful piece of art or a beautiful piece of food, if you're me.
Yeah, we can taste beauty.
Yeah, and smell beauty.
Hear beauty.
The scent of roses.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about that, having spent far more time here at home than I've ever done before, especially over the summer, I have learned to appreciate far more the beauty of the hills around where we live and the shapes of them, which I hadn't noticed quite so much before, and yeah, and that helps to open my heart. Jamil Allah. So Allah, I think we all know the name for the Divine One, and Ishq, divine longing. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. So we sing that twice, let's do it again. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Listen. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Sing that. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. And the last line. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Sing that. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Sing from the top. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. 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 One more time. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah. Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah. Ishq Allah, Jamil. So move with us if you wish. So there's two parts to this, two sort of movement sequences. And leading with the heart in both cases. So leaning first up to the left with our heart, and then up to the right, and then turning. So Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. And then the second movement is we're just swaying from the left to the right. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah. Then we take 2 steps to the left. Ishq Allah, Jamil. And those are the 2 movements, and they run in the second half of the music. They repeat. So let's do the second half. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Jamil Allah, Jamil. last line again. Jamil Allah, Jamil Allah, Ishq Allah, Jamil. Ishq Allah Jamil. Amen. Amen.
So I want to close with more words from Yeshua. And this is the fourth beatitude. So the English translation of this was, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst, for they shall be filled." And really it's a reminder that our longing and our yearning, our hunger and our thirst is a reminder that this protection is there, that this nourishment is there for us. When we feel separate from it, when we feel hungry and thirsty, it's really just that we've forgotten. It's not that it's not there. So the blessing, go on.
Very practically speaking, just you were talking about that each one of us is manifesting the one through our being, and again in recent times I have been learning to actually make an effort to reach out in a way to friends and phone them up regularly, thanks to their help, in a way that I've never done before, and found that nourishing. And people are there, and they want to talk and connect, and so they are, through their being, manifesting the divine and connecting to me. And I feel very grateful.
And that's such a beautiful reminder of how that support is there. So often it's like that, isn't it? I know I sometimes feel isolated and alone until I remember to reach out, and when I do, the support is there, and it was there all along. It wasn't that it wasn't there, but I needed to remember to open to it, to reach out to it. And in another very practical sense, we only know we need to eat because we're hungry. So that's that reminder. The hunger and thirst is a very practical part of reminding us to open. So yeah, just as when we feel physical hunger, it's good to eat some good nourishing food. When we feel the hunger of the heart and the soul, let's use that as a reminder to nourish ourselves with beauty, with the breath, in whatever way we need to nourish ourselves. So these words in Aramaic, Tuvehun Lailain,
Tuvehun Lailain,
Dekafnain, Watsain, Lechanuta, Dehanon,
Nisbun.
So blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for justice, for things to be the way that somehow we know they can be, because they will be filled. So it's quite a lot of Aramaic words. Some of you already know it and some of you won't, and I'm not going to spend a long time teaching it, but just, you can hum along, you can have a sense of the meaning of it, even if you can't get all the words this time. Tubve hun lailain, the kafnain, watsain, lechanuta. Kafnain and watsain, that's hungering and thirsting. Lechanuta, this is this righteousness, justice. Dehanon nisbun. Nisbun is the word for filled. It's like that deep nourishment in the belly. Tubve hun, ripe, blessed. It's blessed and ripe to feel hunger and thirst. It's what leads to us being filled. Tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, de kafning, watsing, lechenuta, denon is pu. Tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, de kafning, watsing, lechenuta, denon is pu. Tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, de kafning, watsing, lechenuta, denon is pu. So I'm going to show you the movements, and I do invite you to move your bodies with this one, because it can really help us. These movements that we can take with us as we leave this place, and use them to ground in our bodies when we need to remember. So there's this movement which has soft knees and a spreading out. This sense of it's a gesture which suggests that we are laying the table, spreading out for all good things to come and nourish us. So it's about this hungering and thirsting. Tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le. And then we would take hands in our circle and bow. To kafnein, hungering, and then raise, watsein, thirsting. Then we take a step to the right and make a crescent with the heart. Lechenuta, denon is pu. And the hands come to the belly, this feeling of being filled, bringing it into this deep place within us, place of hunger and thirst. So that's the movements. I'll go through them once again, and then I will make a little tweak to it. Tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, tu behun lai le, de kafnein, watsein, lechenuta, denon is pu. Feel the hands on the belly, bringing that sense of fullness deep inside. So what we're going to do as we do this spreading movement, this inviting movement, we're going to take a quarter turn each time, and this is how we would dance it in a circle, so that we end up facing outwards. There's something about facing away from the screen or away from the center of the circle that puts us in that place of our maybe anxiety, fear of scarcity, fear of being alone. So let's just play with that, and then the next time the movements will come back to bring us to face the screen again, to face the center. So in fact, let's do it beginning facing out first of all, just so that we can get the feeling for that. So tu behun lai le, quarter turn to the right. Tu behun lai le, and another quarter turn. Here we are facing the screen again. Tu behun lai le, de kafnein, watsein, lechenuta, denon is pu. I think I've lost the key here. No, we didn't at all. That's good. So the only only thing to remember is that the chanuta is always in the same direction. So as I'm facing the screen, it's always to the right. That means when I'm facing out, it'll be to my left. But anyway, see how you go with that one. Let's try together. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. They shall be filled. Now is a really good time to feel our hunger and our thirst, to feel these empty places inside us that are yearning, that the feeling of lack of trust and fear and emptiness. Let's feel that, because that is the spur to reach out and remember and find the nourishment that is already promised to us. It's already there. Tuveun laile, quarter turn. Tuveun laile, Tuveun laile, back to the screen. Yeah, Muqit. When we feel this hunger and this thirst, yeah, Muqit, the only one who fills it, the only one who promises all of this nourishment for body, heart and soul. Ya Muqit.
Ya Muqit.
Amen, amen, amen.